All right, Bang Bang. Today is Tuesday. It's April 13th. Welcome to the Dog Walk, presented by Barstool Sports. Chief's here. Chief, how we doing?
I'm doing great. Feeling really good.
Yeah?
You?
Good. I'm
You got
doing
to
well.
pep up?
Doing well. I'm pepped. I'm
Okay.
pepped. Am I not pepped?
Yeah, I mean, you could be a little bit more pepped.
Sorry,
we got a big subject today.
We do got a big subject.
Everybody was sending this one in.
Yeah.
I got probably 2 dozen DMs. People would be like, you're talking about Egypt?
It's
Talking
kind
about
of surprising we never got into this as well.
Egypt? I've blogged this before because I'm fascinated by Egypt. I kind of think like we should be studying only Egypt and nothing else because it's that crazy.
Mm-hmm. That's fair, because when it comes to all these pyramids and Egypt and shit, I've always just accepted that no one knows.
Yeah.
And I've never looked into it.
Yeah, but it's like the we'll get into it because I think you're going to have your mind blown like 4 to 5 times right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. I like that. Before we get into it, though, got to talk about Roman, Chief. Most guys try different ways to last longer in bed. Thinking about how these damn pyramids are made ain't going to help you.
It's not going to work.
No.
You're
No
talking about,
way.
phallic structures. You're just hard. You're up there. You're thinking. That's not going to make you last longer in bed.
Yeah, so stop worrying about the pyramids, all the wonders of the world, and start worrying about your performance and how to improve it. And the best way to do that is with Roman swipes, because they're clinically proven as a way to last longer in bed. They're effective, easy to use, and fast acting, but they don't require a prescription. Roman can ship swipes to in discreet, unmarked packaging, and each swipe packet is small enough to hide in your wallet for whenever you need it. They're super easy to use. Just take the swipe out of the packet, swipe it on, let it dry, and you're good to go. That's it. To get your hands on these, all you got to do is go to getroman.com/walk. And you can get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's getroman.com/walk. Go hop on the Roman train and have a better sex life. It's that easy. So, all right, the pyramids. The pyramids.
Well, we should say that the reason everybody was hitting us up to do this is because they are studying Egypt all the time, to the point that they just found a whole city that they didn't know existed, and they're calling it the Golden City. 3,400 years old. It just popped up.
So explain. They were digging and they found similar to the Turkey.
Kind of, yeah. So they have this technology, and they're always doing you can study in college and get like a PhD in something called Egyptology. So there are people who do nothing but study Egypt. And so you had an archaeologist, some Indiana Jones guy running around Egypt, and they have this new technology called LiDAR. And they found this city. They're calling it the Golden City, and they found it's perfectly preserved because it's just been buried with dirt and dust, similar to that Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, where it's just everything is just there. And they're finding weird skeletons and stuff, and they're finding different types of walls and structures and things that were not really present anywhere else in Egypt. And then the big thing, the tombs have been studied in Egypt, right? And the Sphinx and the Alexandria and all these different things have been studied, but there's no evidence or things to study about how Egyptians actually lived. This is all here's a weird temple, here's a weird pyramid, here's a weird statue. And
why was it there? And
if a couple guys like us back in ancient Egypt, what were we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no evidence for any of that stuff. This is what that is. So they're saying it's the biggest archaeological find since they found King Tut's tomb. And I feel like everybody has heard the name King Tutankhamun.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen you know what else they just did recently? I almost blogged it, I think, a couple weeks ago. They took King Tut's DNA, matched with his bone structure, and digitally recreated what he would actually look like in the flesh. Maybe the ugliest person who ever lived. He was a disgusting looking mutant person. Probably because I think he was, I might have this wrong, but he might be the product of incest to keep those bloodlines pure, and he came out looking rough.
Really?
Ugly dude. Top 5 ugliest guy who ever lived.
How accurate is that, though?
I'm going with the science. And
what if we just gave him a raw deal?
I mean, he's still the king. You still know his name.
Yeah, but he's still rolling around being that's not what I fucking look like.
Do you think? I mean, he's so ugly in these pictures. People should go Google it. Yeah, maybe we'll put it in the social clip or something. He's so ugly that he could probably posthumously sue for slander. He's been dead for 4,000 years or whatever. He should that's how ugly he is. You trying to pull up the picture right now?
Yeah.
You don't think so?
I mean, Yeah,
He's an ugly fucking guy. He's like the slack jawed. I mean, like you see that famous like the what do you call it? The sarcophagus, where they have like all the golden thing. They make him look like this like really good looking guy, and then where it's made out of metal in this tomb, and then you see what he actually looks like. He's walking with a cane. He's wearing a fucking diaper.
Yeah,
and he's just like the ugliest, awkward human who ever lived.
The body's tougher than the.
And I'm not here to body shame. Not here to body shame, but King Tut looking gross.
Okay.
But anyway, so but this city, what they're finding is they've got like all this different pottery stuff. They're like they have like a specific church. They have like an administrative building, and they're still going. Like they're still like they know there's rooms and buildings to be found, and they're saying that this place, another reason why it's so, like such a big discovery, is that this city they're able to carbon date things, so they get it like pretty dead on balls accurate of like how old things are. It's from the time when Egypt was at its like peak financially. So there's all kinds of like gold and statues and like pottery and all these things that they're finding. It's like, how were the Egyptians living when they were really living like high on the hog? Well, this site is supposed to tell people that. Okay. And they're finding, but they're also finding like, you're going to find some weird shit like skeletons like tied out with like their knees taped together and their arms splayed out. And so there's some like weird, like maybe some human sacrifice shit going on there too, which was always happening in the ancient world. It is crazy how we just like sacrifice people. Like, how are we going to please the gods? I don't know, murder your son. Like that was just like a regular practice.
Oh, sorry, it was used for entertainment.
Yeah, that too. Like, and I think it was the Aztecs had that basketball type of game where they would try to like do like hip shots into a ring, like a stone ring, almost kind of like basketball. And it's like, okay, like your team lost. Like, what's the punishment? You get your fucking head chopped off. Like human beings were insane back in the day.
Crazy.
Yeah. And, but yeah, so this is like an ongoing thing. This, they're calling it the Golden City. They found a seal that had the city's actual name on it, and it said it was the domain of dazzling Aten, Aten. And it's just like, hey, like this is a real look into the culture of regular people living in Egypt at the height of their empire. And like I said, the city is about 3,400 years old is what they're saying. But that's all we really have on that city right now. I want to get into like the freaky Egypt shit. You ready for that?
Yeah, I guess I'm ready.
Okay. So a couple like, we talk about this all the time about how trying to have like concepts of time. Like how long the Egyptians ruled and when this shit was going on. So Cleopatra, you've heard that name, right?
Yes.
So she was around, her reign was from 52 BC to 31 BC, which is like right before Jesus was born. That puts her closer in time and like her existence to the moon landings than it was to when the pyramids were built.
Ah.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy.
Like, you think the pyramids, like, when you think Egypt, for me at least, you think Moses, you think the pyramids, you think Cleopatra, like, she's top 3.
Yeah.
And then it's like, actually, those pyramids are, like, thousands of years older than Cleopatra. So, like, that's how long Egypt, like, the official record says that Egypt was, like, running shit. Was for thousands of years. So, like, the United States has been around for about 300 now, 250, 300, something like that. Egypt had their reign in that area for thousands and thousands of years. So you're like wondering, like, how do we not know anything about the pyramids and how they started? Well, because they've been around for like 7,000 years or longer, and we're gonna get into the or longer.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
And you talk about like that or longer thing, like the Sphinx. That's another one of those big. You have the head on like the lion body.
Yep.
And there's a lot of evidence that says that thing is actually like 12,000 years old. So remember when we talked about that Göbekli Tepe and there was like no, like it just seems like it popped up out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of evidence that says that Sphinx is about that old too. And the way that they can tell that is through erosion. So you see the head of the Sphinx and then it has like this whole body on the back. And there's all this like weird like vertical lines in it that can only be caused by like heavy rainfall. And there was heavy rainfall in Egypt and the whole Sahara. Guess what time that was? Same around the time of that Atlantis flood that we always talk about, where it could have just wiped out Atlantis. they had like, and it's like a scientific fact that 12. So everyone puts the Sphinx at about 4,500 years old. There's no way that could be true with these erosion marks on there. It's just impossible because they're able to chart like what the rainfall was through like, core samples, and like they can just chart it through like looking at the dirt and looking at erosion patterns and things like that. It's just been a desert in that part of the world for a long time. 12,000 years ago, they had a shit ton of rain because they had the Sahara back then was green. You had all this stuff flooding up in the upper atmosphere, supposedly at the end of that last ice age, because they had the thing hit that wiped out Atlantis, Göbekli Tepe, all that shit. It's all like there's so many things that like kind of prove that, and they think that originally the Sphinx, which has a human head now, they think that it's probably been like restored and reworked and done these things so many times over the course of thousands and thousands of years. They're like, maybe it was like a lion head originally. So because that, they think the reason they think it was a lion head because it has like that cat body, and then like the erosion took away the lion head and they reshaped it into look like their Egyptian people god. And but that thing had been around like for fucking forever. And there's all those different astrological ages, right? There's like which are the like all the girls are looking up their horoscopes.
Yeah.
Well, they think that this thing was built in the age of Leo, which is the lion, and like it's astrologically aligned with some of these star formations in the sky, and they think that it was originally a lion. It was supposed to be for that. And like that's what I mean, where it's just like people are still, even though human beings have been fascinated by Egypt and the pyramids and like forever, they're still trying to learn things about them all the time because they are. You talk about like the 8 wonders of the world or 7 wonders, whatever it is. In my brain, there's only one. It's just Egypt. It's just like the pyramids of Giza. And we'll get into these facts where I think I'm going to blow your mind.
Really?
Yeah. So
I'm sure you will.
The Great Pyramid of Giza. That thing is aligned to true north.
1 second,
okay,
here, Chief. Before we continue, we do want to talk about Upstart here.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Upstart. So we want to be better with our finances.
I definitely do.
You got to be smarter.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key word, smarter. Because Upstart's there for you. Because when it comes to paying off debt, it can often feel like an uphill battle. Mm-hmm. High interest rates resulting in minimum monthly payments keeps you in an endless cycle of debt. Upstart can help you get ahead. If you're carrying a credit card balance month after month, you're not the only one. High interest rates make it hard to pay off your debt, but Upstart can help. Join the thousands of happy borrowers who made that final payment. It's the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan, and it's all online. Mm-hmm. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses, over 500,000 people have used Upstart to get a simple fixed monthly payment. Unlike other lenders, Upstart, they look at more than your credit score, which is great.
Good.
It's not just, here's what it is. Yeah. That's what you got to accept. No, it's not like that for them. They look at your income, employment history, a whole bunch of things. So
a holistic approach.
Yeah. So it's just a way smarter rate, and they have trusted partners. So with 5 minutes online rate check, you can see your rate up front for loans between $1,000 to $50,000. You can receive the funds as fast as 1 business day as well after accepting the loan, which is huge. So find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/Eddie. That's upstart.com/Eddie, EDDIE. Obviously, don't forget to use that code Eddie because that's how they know that we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/Eddie. All right, I'm ready for some.
That sounds like a great service. That's something I wish I knew about or even existed when I was in my 20s, and like I had to like find out about credit and credit cards and all the consolidation like the hard way. I just didn't know shit about anything because they don't teach any of that. People should check this out. Genuinely check out Upstart.
Definitely. A lot of people could definitely use it. Mm-hmm. I'm ready for these facts.
Okay. All right. So the Great Pyramid. So the one that you probably always see the picture of. It's aligned to true north within 3/60ths of a degree. So think about just trying to draw a straight line. Okay, just try to draw like a line up and down. And it's fucking hard, right? It's really fucking hard. And these ancient people, somehow, some way, they not only did they not just draw a straight line, they did it to dead on balls accurate for true north. And they think that, the earth like kind of wobbles and like true north kind of shifts over time. So they think like right now it's within 3/60ths of a degree. So like 3/60 is like nothing. But they think it was probably actually 100% accurate back then because the Earth does like it tilts on its axis, wobbles a little bit. So it's over time, over a long
tectonics.
That could be a factor.
How about that?
That nice callback.
You didn't know I had that in my fucking bag.
I did not. And the other thing would be like if that asteroid or an asteroid does hit it, that can tilt the Earth off its axis a little bit too. So if there are or even just like a giant volcano can shift the Earth on its axis a little bit.
So regardless, there's a good chance that this thing was fucking straight away.
Straight away. And so even right now, so like we thought the Earth was fucking flat until 500 years ago with Christopher Columbus. These people were lining up their pyramid to dead straight north. Who knows how long ago? At least 6,000 years ago. Probably longer. Okay? The other thing that's fucking wild about the Great Pyramid, it's at the center of the Earth's landmass. So if you draw a circle around the entire Earth from the 4 major directions and then, then like northwest, northeast, southeast, southwest, like so 8 lines going around, it's the one spot on Earth where it crosses the most amount of land in every direction. Okay, so how the fuck would anybody? They didn't even know South America and North America were a thing. But these people, like if you put it, I'm not joking, if you put it 50 miles in any other direction, okay, and start the pyramid there, that wouldn't happen. You put it exactly where they put it, and you draw straight lines in a circle around the globe. That spot emanating out from where the pyramid is, it's the dead center of the landmass on Earth. How the fuck would anybody know that back then? How would they know that? How could they know that?
There's no way.
You think, but how could that be a coincidence?
It's too much of a coincidence.
How could that be a coincidence?
Good Lord, dude.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
It's good Lord, okay?
That's fucking crazy.
It's also, the pyramid is somehow, it's perfectly aligned with the Earth's orbit around the sun. So the ancient Egyptians used a unit of measure called a cubit. And if you measure one side of the pyramid from corner to corner, it's 365.242 cubits, which is the exact amount of days down to the decimal that there are in a calendar year. So how did they decide how big to build it? Well, we're going to use 365 cubits, 365.242 cubits. And that 0.242 is, how we have like leap years? Okay, so that's like they even took that into account. So like we like round up and we just do the 365, and then we add an extra day every 4 years to account for all the time at the end of like just 4 minutes a day or something like that. They included that, so they knew exactly down to the 100th decimal in this unit of measure called cubits how long it takes the Earth to go around the sun. Exactly.
Fuck.
Right. Okay, another one. The geographical coordinates match up exactly with the number for what the speed of light is. So the Great Pyramid coordinates is, and this is all, these are called degrees, okay? It's 29.979245.8 north. The speed of light measured in meters per second, 299,792,458. Exact same fucking number. Again, how this stuff can't be a coincidence. That's fucking what. Like, how do you do that? How do you put it? We're going to have it in the exact center of the Earth, and it's going to be this exact coordinate, and it lines up with the speed of light. Like, is that some sort of fucking message about something from somebody? I don't know.
Dude, they had some type of information.
They had to.
Back then.
They had to. That we lost somehow.
Yes.
But it just doesn't make any sense. And it's like, and again, it's not like they built it there because it was easy to build it there. Like these bricks and these things are weighed as much as 50 tons, and they can figure out where they came from, the big stone bricks, 500 miles away. So you have all these stones to make this giant building. And you're like, well, we have to build it right here. Well, there's no rocks here. Well, go 500 miles away with no motors, no nothing, none of that, and drag it here because we have to build it right here, and it has to be like to these exact measurements. So, fucking insane, okay?
Who's looking at that job saying, yeah, take this 500 miles?
Yeah.
And thinking that's okay.
And like, they didn't even have wheels back then. So what do they do? Just roll it on timber? Like, I don't know. I don't know how the fuck you did that.
They just had a million people under it and they just carried it over their head.
They also believe that the pyramids used to be shiny. Okay. So they used to be, originally the pyramids were covered in a polished limestone. They'd reflect the sun and they would like glisten and sparkle on the horizon. So like that must have just been like, I'm coming up on this Egyptian empire and you can see their works just like glistening in the sun. They used to think it might have had like a golden triangle at the top too, but it would be like this white, almost like marble. And like that had been flaked off and like used on other projects over the thousands of years. As fucking idiots came by and be like, yeah, fuck that pyramid. I'm going to take this shiny piece of rock with me. But that it used to be like this beautiful, spectacular, like smooth, shiny building.
That's one of those things you hear that, and you think of the new dinosaur discovery that they had.
Yeah.
Feathers.
Yeah, that blew my mind. Because now they're just like dinosaurs, are just chickens.
Yeah, it's like, oh, fuck. We've been kind of thinking one thing our whole life.
And then you just dropped this on its head.
It's crazy to think that's how it.
Do you know the Triceratops was never even a real thing?
Yeah.
Did we talk about that here? That just bums me out. Mm-hmm. The other thing about the Great Pyramid, though, is that it was the tallest structure on Earth for 3,800 years. That's a fucking run. That's a dynasty right there. So like that's, we talk about these things. We're like, oh, you would think there would be human progression over time. Wrong. We made this one thing, and it was the biggest, grandest thing we made as a species for almost 4,000 years. So that it didn't get passed. I'm trying to think of the thing that passed it. I'm trying to look through here. Yeah, I can't remember which was the building that actually finally passed it, but it was the tallest building on Earth for almost 4,000 years.
It was a monster.
Huge, but it's you would think like, oh, hey, they built that. Let's go build one a little bit bigger. No, like we didn't build anything until we started doing like legit skyscrapers. It's crazy. This is one I think this will be your favorite one.
Uh-oh.
You ready?
Yeah.
The Great Pyramid's air conditioned.
No.
Yeah. So
that's nice.
It is nice. So it's in the
it's very nice.
It's in the middle of the desert, one of the hottest places in the world. Just beaten down in the sun in the Sahara Desert, super fucking hot. You step inside the pyramid, 68 degrees, 365 days a year. The inside of the pyramid,
a permanent 68 or that
68. So somehow, some way, that's what I keep my house at. I think that is the best air conditioner temperature.
So they knew.
They knew the right temperatures, and it just doesn't change. So they somehow, with like the light and the ventilation and this and that, the inside of the pyramids when you're walking around, it's always 68 degrees.
Still. That's fine.
I mean, what do you mean still? Do you think they had thermometers back then, writing shit down?
No, but like I don't know. You figure after time, like something can change.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would think, but no, it's just always 68. So if you're working, you're one of these, Indiana Jones guys, archaeologists digging around. You're like, man, I got to get back inside that pyramid because it's so fucking hot everywhere else. You go inside there, it's nice.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I could fuck
very
with
considerate. So all the things about like, it's aligned to this and the stars and it's exactly this big, speed of light. They got that air conditioner temperature right too.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
There's also this, they have this mortar to like keep the bricks together. So it's like a cement thing. They've been studying this thing forever. I still don't know what it is. They can't replicate it. They can't break it down. So they have like this super adhesive mortar that was used in the construction. And that's almost almost 5 million pounds or 5 million tons of this mortar. And it's stronger than the stones itself. And they have not been able to like figure out what it was or recreate it. So they had some substance that they knew how to make, this super strong like type of cement back then that still works because the pyramids are still standing there, and we can't figure out how to recreate it. Still, we don't know what it is.
Wow,
it's crazy.
We need to figure that out.
That's a crazy fact.
We need to figure that out.
Like we could make our building stand for forever, but these pyramids, they have something like this. Is what I mean. Where that's like the pyramids. How the fuck, like that thing about the speed of light and like the qubits, like down to like the second it takes to go around, is just it boggles the mind. And you think of these ancient people of being like these primitive people, And it's like, how the fuck did they figure out to put the thing here so it's at the center of the earth, at the speed of light, and just like in the biggest, best building that was ever created, to the point that we still can't figure out the building materials. It blows your mind. This is what I mean. We should only be talking about I think about the pyramids like probably once a day because of these facts, because it shouldn't make any sense. And if they were able to do stuff like that back then, like, I feel like we should be like
more advanced,
way more advanced. Yeah. Like, how did we get so dumb if we were so smart back then?
That's what's crazy is we don't know fucking shit now.
If you take my phone away from me, I might not be able to get home, and I live down the street.
We think fucking Elon Musk is smart.
He's a fucking idiot compared to these people.
Crazy.
And the other thing is, I feel like it would just be if I lived back then, it would just be so hard to figure out how to just not die. Like, where are you getting your food from? How are you going to grow your food? How are you going to transport your food? Where's your fresh water coming from? How do you make sure the guy down the street doesn't just stab you and take your wife? Like, that would just consume all of my thoughts. I don't have time to figure out what astrological thing is to build this pyramid with rocks from 500 miles away, because everything is trying to kill you. They were able to just this is an important enough thing. We're just going to build this giant structure in the middle of the desert.
Wow. Insane
Facts. That's all the facts I got for you on the pyramids.
No, that was nice because, and that's like I told you, like I just never looked into it because I was just so convinced. Nobody knows.
Yeah, but I didn't even know what we don't know.
Yeah,
when you hear they're studying this because it's that, because because the amount of bricks that they use to measure one side to the other is the coordinates rather is the exact same as the speed of light, the same digits.
It's crazy.
Down to like the 100th decimal. That's insane.
Yeah, then they're gonna find this they found this city, and now they're gonna find something new.
I hope so.
And then
I keep waiting them to be like, well, we found the thing that proves that it was aliens. Because how else could you explain this?
That's gotta be soon.
And Rogan has had a guy on named Graham Hancock, who's an Egyptologist, and he figured he's done a lot of work on that. And there's also another guy, I think his name is Richard Schock or something like that, Robert Schock. And those two guys don't really agree on much. Like Robert Schock is more of a real scientist, and Graham Hancock, I like him, but he gets dismissed as kind of a kook.
Yeah.
They agree on the erosion thing about the Sphinx. Yeah,
that was it.
Right. And then there's nothing from the time of the Sphinx, which would have been if you accept that erosion theory from 12,500, then you have a 6,000 year gap between that and the pyramid. So the Sphinx is even older than the pyramid. So it's something was going on in that part of the world that we've just lost to history. And we who knows if we'll ever figure it out, but we should be talking about it every single day until somebody does.
I'm on board.
Okay.
I'm on board.
Sold you on Egypt.
Sold me on Egypt.
Good.
Let's find out more.
See you next week. Maybe I'll study more.
Yeah. We'll see. All right, Chief. Thank you. That's it for today, everybody. Thank you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow. Good episode. Got some plumbers coming on. Very, very, very funny interview. Funny guys. So
it's going to be great.
Yeah. So look out for that. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.